Page 71. I don't know what the name of this is. There's no title given. It's just a little exercise working the chords. On page 70, they're having you write out note names. Good exercise. You need to know the names of all those notes. So whether you write them in or not, at least try and say them. And try and get where you can say them fairly quickly. All right? So you don't have to stop and think. For page 71, really all we're doing is we're using these chord positions in each hand. This time, the right hand is playing them as broken chords, or the chord one note at a time. Further in the first line there, you have the C chord, but it's the order you play the notes in doesn't matter. It doesn't change the chord. It's still the chord. So the left hand is playing them as block chords, or all at the same time. Try and get the notes down at the same time if you can. And then they add a little bit of pedal. Well, they don't have any phrasing marked in here. That's unfortunate, but they don't. So we'll have to talk about the pedaling. I was tempted to skip this page because it's not really a piece of music with a title and all that, and I'm thinking, oh, I better go ahead and cover it. There's things we can talk about. In the second line, in the right hand, when you're doing the chords, you have an F sharp first. You have to move your hand up to get the F sharp. Then when you play the C and D together, get your hand back out. You don't have to stay up there to play those. That's a little awkward. So you're only up in near the fall board as long as you have to be to cover the note. All right. On that last note of the piece where you're crossing the left hand over to get the G, the high G, they're telling you third finger. It's up to you which finger you use. Normally you'd use second or third because you're reaching and these two fingers are longer than the others, so you use whichever one. You're not going to use the others in most cases because the other fingers are shorter and you have to reach further. There's no point in that in this case. So third finger or second finger, either one is fine. As far as the pedaling goes, I want to suggest something here. Notice at the beginning of the piece it starts with a pickup note, so it's like this. I'm going to suggest that as one phrase. It's not marked, there's no phrasing marked, but I'm going to suggest that, which means in the next to the last measure of the first line, you have a half note. I'm going to say that ends the phrase, and the quarter note, the G, the third beat, starts a new phrase because it's another pickup like at the beginning. And then we'll say that ends a phrase, and then the G, the third beat, starts a new phrase. And then in the last line, in the second measure, I'm going to suggest that the third note, the G, starts a new phrase. I'm suggesting that because it affects how you pedal it. We want the pedal to enhance the phrasing, which means if I want silence between the phrasing, I got to pedal it in such a way that the pedal is not down between the phrasing, or I won't get silence. So I'm going to lift the pedal up each time with the right hand notes. Actually, in this case, it's going to be with both hands. Both hands are come up at the same time. The pedal comes up with them. So to show you the last three measures or so of the first line, it's here. Push the pedal down right after I play the notes. And I lift it up with the hand before I play the G's. So there's a little bit of silence before I play the G. So it's here. I'm going to do it the same way each time. At the end, the pedal and the left hand comes up at the same time. See, it's a little tricky. Look at that last measure. It's an 8 VA. You see the 8 VA above it? That means play that note an octave higher than it's written. It's written here. They want you to play it here. And they want you to do the left hand. Use the left hand. Notice the stem on that last note goes down. That's another way of indicating hands sometimes is if the stem goes down, you do the left hand. The stem goes up, you do the right hand. Not always, but A lot of times it does, and in this case it is. Because normally on a note on that line, the stem would go up. If you look at the other G's in this piece, the notes in that line, stems all go up. Here they deliberately made the stem go down because they're indicating they want the left hand to play it. So for the last two measures, the notes without the pedal is here. So you're going to play that last note by itself. The right hand lifts up. You don't take the right hand away, leave it there, just don't have any notes pushed down. So at the end of the measure, you're here with the pedal, it's here. 2 off. The pedal and the left hand comes up at the same time. Now the piece is repeated, so we're going to play it twice. We're not going an octave higher this time, and it's just play it the way it's written. The only octave higher thing is the last measure goes up, and that's it. Dynamic wise, it looks like it's all MF, and that's the melody. The right hand is the melody, so bring out the right hand. Now let's try this out together and see how we do. I'll give us 3 counts. In G position and the foot's on the pedal. We're ready to go. Actually, it has a pickup beat, so I'm only going to give us 2 counts. All right, so be ready. Ready, go. 2. 1, 2. 2. 1, 2. Repeat. 1, 2.